Video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at a huge severe weather outbreak that has been going on for the last, honestly, couple weeks. It has been round after round of severe weather with tornadoes after tornadoes. At least in this event, we at least know up to 15 people have passed away and lost their lives to this, and many more injured. So it's really just showing you how bad these storms have been with killing over 15 people. So do not let the severe weather outbreak take you under guard tomorrow. Even if you're in the Northeast, yes, it's going to be weaker, but do not. This has been an overperformer, huge severe weather outbreak with multiple EF3s or higher, and sadly, another EF4 possibility in Kentucky. So it just continues. All right. Tornado risk up to a 15% hatched area across the Tennessee area. They actually have now tornado watches just all in here. They have a tornado watch all the way down into these areas right here of a PDS tornado watch, means a particular dangerous situation is possible. I think this is more going to be a derecho, where the lines I'm making right now, more of a derecho event with 80 miles an hour winds or higher. I think up here our major threat of tornadoes is right now. I think that's going to be our major. There's a 5% and then a 2% all the way into western Pennsylvania. That has already kind of died down with the tornado. We did see a confirmed tornado warning in West Virginia out of that line, so it's just telling you how significant things are. The winds, once again, 5% the marginal, slight, like you said, the 15%, and then the 30 with the hatch, and then that 35, even more significant winds. And I do really, really agree with that. I think, but I would honestly bring that hatch a little bit more farther out and probably add these areas too in the hatch, and then the moderate farther out. That's how I would do it, but still, please be careful if you're on anything with these storms. These storms have been absolutely stunning. Then we have a hail percent 45. That is slowly but surely dying down. I do not think we're going to see the biggest hail like we've been seeing today. So we'll have to be really careful on that. If we looked at the storm reports today, let's take a look at that. Storm storm reports here is pretty crazy. 14 tornado reports so far. So already a tornado outbreak already confirmed. Major wind outbreak, major hail outbreak. So major severe weather outbreak. A lot of wind reports. Um, Strongest winds I probably wouldn't be able, but there already has been debris of an EF3, EF1 on some of these, and some other tornadoes. I think those are going to go up too, but the hail, biggest what I see right now is 275, 3 inches, 4 inches, to I think right now it stands at 4 inch hail. Yeah, 4 inches of hail reported, and then the winds 67, and these are just hundreds and hundreds of unconfirmed tornado wind. That's 60. Um, I think 67 is the highest on here for now. 70. I mean, there is hundreds. Yeah, I think 70 is the highest, but there's probably a lot more reports. I mean, you have to remember these are huge, huge amount. This is like over 600 reports of wind, so you have to remember that's really significant. We go into day two outlook, and there it is. They have that slight risk. I do think that slight. Okay, if I think this is how I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. Moderate is gonna be more over here. Slight, I would say is I would say that's pretty good down here. I think maybe they'll extend that to the coast. Um, Sorry about that mistake. And then I think this will be extended up to here, and then they're going to have a enhance into here. I think an enhanced risk is going to be very possible for here because why I say that is because how they have the tornado perimeter. They have this at a 5%. Usually, even with a slight, it's a 2%. So they're seeing something with a pretty big, significant tornado perimeter. This is going into Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania, Western New Jersey, all the way down in these areas of up to a 5%. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Hans and maybe even a Hatch area, maybe even a yellow. I think it's possible, depending with the supercells. We're gonna be taking a look at all that in just a moment. But I think the tornado outbreak is very possible tomorrow, and then the winds 15, hail is 15. I think those will go up to the 30, in all depending. So that is the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. Now let's take a look at some of the models. Let's deep dive into what could happen in the Northeast and what are the significance. So first, temperatures. How are the temperatures looking, my friend? Um, Easily significant to tomorrow. Let's go take a look at 0Z. I mean, once again, very significant temperatures into the 70s, maybe even lower 80s. So that's just one thing. We're going to have that instability, the sun. Dew point temps are going to be quite a bit of a humid. We're going to have some humidity into the 70s. That's check mark number 2. So there's 2 check marks already done. Um, FC visibility, no. The humidity is how much moisture in the atmosphere. That is going to be check mark number 2 with some pretty significant percents in the 90s. So humidity is going to be really up there. So that's another major significant. That's check mark number 3. Then we take a look at the most unstable cape and shear, and that is probably going to be number 4. As once again, I think those areas where that 5% is going to be the most significant. I think that could be higher. We have to just see. And then we look at the cape values right there in the shear, very high too. Now let's take a look at lightning density. Why not? Very high likely there too. That's check mark number 4. Updraft, Hercules. Can the storms have some updraft? And there's a pretty good shot in some of these storms into the darker greens and yellows. That's to 120. So we got the updrafts or some supercells. That's going to be there. That's check mark number 5. Supercell composite is going to be very high up there too. Into the oranges, yellows and oranges, you guys. That is at least a medium chance for a good amount of supercells. I think the best supercells are going to be from here to here. I think these are going to have the best for tornadoes right here of these supercells. We'll see how tomorrow goes. How much sun do we get? All depends. Significant tornado perimeter too. I think that it's not as high, but I think Eastern Pennsylvania, you're gonna have some lighter yellows. I think this could be even more. Just all depends. So that's check mark number like 7. So there's a lot of possibilities. Average clouds tomorrow. There's a potential where we do see a break after tomorrow morning with some sun. How much sun? That will be check number 5. If we get more than an hour, then the instability, the atmosphere just unravels really quick. Um, Total rain accumulations. This is going to be a major flooding event too. I do think you can be looking out to 1 to probably 3 inches locally, higher, maybe 4, even 5 inches in some of these spots. Now, similar reflectivity, there is that supercell potential. I think some of these individual cells that you are seeing is going to have a shot. Some of these individual between cells that's going to be developing in front of the storm like we had today. They're going to have some rotation and some big time hail. Now, I really am telling you, I think this is going to be a major severe weather outbreak tomorrow. Now that's just one model. Let's take a look at the name. Let's quickly look, and boom, major supercells out ahead of it, major supercells behind it, and that line. I think that is a just a very big significant thing where we're going to be talking about. And if we take a look at the temperatures, like the check mark perfectly aligned right there, that's check mark number one. Check mark number two, easily. Check mark number three, absolutely gorgeous. Um, Most unstable cape and shear on this is actually a little bit more of significance. So that's a little bit of a worried sign. And supercell composite even higher into the dark oranges. You have to remember that is actually into the sevens. That's almost into moderate territory for supercells. So the NAM seeds even more of a chance for supercells than the hurt. And then the significant even into the yellows and oranges. So the chances for a tornado outbreak is probably not going to be like today, but I think there's going to be some tornadoes and the UD Hercules Swifts very high up there. Um, Precipitation is going to be. Let's look at a similar satellite. Yep, some very high thunderstorms. I think similar reflectivity right there. Vertical velocities in some of these storms are going to be there. I mean, some of these supercells could really be up there, especially in that line. That means vertical velocity, some rotation up in the atmosphere. What else is still here? That's only it. So that's what I'm saying. I think there's that very likelihood for a chance of some tornadoes. Now let's just take a look at GFS because I want to actually take a look at the wind shear mechanism in this. If I can find this, the vorticity in 500 millibars, 7, 6. Hmm. This is the Cape and Shear, very high tomorrow. They actually do have a supercell composite, and this is actually with the GFS, likely of a nice shot of that. Mid-level lapse rates. I don't really know what that is, but that's all we need. All right, with the radar. So there's a very big, significant chance for tornadoes tomorrow in the Northeast. I wouldn't be surprised. Once again, hatch area be applied. So please take all care and worries about this. Because let's just take a look at this. We can actually look at some of these other models, the mesoscale models, and see what are they calling for. Is it going to be more of a supercell out ahead of it and then combining into a line? I think, like we saw today, is going to be very likely tomorrow. I mean, either way, tonight we had to actually deal with a line of storms around 4 a.m., so we're going to be hearing some thunder. But look at that, supercells all over, even this model, and then it congeals into a line. So I think some of these supercells are going to have some rotation. And even behind it, some more supercells. So this is going to be a long event, probably with a tornado watch across that 5% area. Very likely, because I'm seeing it with all these models of at least some type of supercell formation before to that line. And that is just an absolutely huge significant that means with some sun and some stuff, just really sets up the stage for some bad thunderstorms. Even this model, and then congeals into ones. But the rotation is definitely there, and we have to really, really be careful on that because things could get nasty if you are not careful. You have to remember, if you're not careful, please do not take the risk. because this is going to be a major tornado outbreak and it is very possible. So probably have an update video tomorrow morning, and we'll be looking at the day 2 outlook and the day 1. So have a great night, you guys. If you guys please like and subscribe. If you guys have any comments or concerns or questions, just leave them down below and I'll get to you as quickly as possible. So have a great night and see you guys in tomorrow's forecast.